This is Sex Afflictions and Porn Addictions. I am your host, Craig Pera, and it is a great privilege to share with you today an amazing book written by two amazing friends, Kelly Paisley and Scotty Hall, two men that I just hold really close to my heart, written by Kelly, illustrated by Scotty. And the name of the book is The Parts of Me. And if you're watching the video, you can see the pictures of this book. Now, why am I sharing this with you? There's no link to purchase this book. This isn't a sales anything. This is to share a beautiful piece of work with you that I hope touches you in a way that says, wait a minute, I connect with this part stuff. I connect with this, the simple, and it's a children's book too. And there's beauty in its simplicity. So it's going to take no longer than 5 minutes. For those of you listening live, welcome. Say hi in the chat. For those of you who are listening on one of our broadcasts, come join us live one of these times. Subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn. This book is for anyone who has endured childhood trauma and still carries those scars to this day. Do not despair. Do not give up hope. With hard work and dedication, there is a better life ahead of you. All things are possible. This is me. I am made up of different parts. Each part is always trying to help me in some way. But sometimes, when trying to help, these parts make me uncomfortable. Look at that. Can't you see the emotions in the pictures? It's pretty epic. Sometimes a part of me wants to get angry and break things or yell at people, and that is okay. This part is just trying to keep me safe. Sometimes a part of me wants to tell lies, even when there is no reason to, and that is okay. This part is just trying to keep me safe. Sometimes a part of me wants to do whatever I want and not care about how anyone else feels. And that is okay. This part is just trying to keep me safe. Sometimes a part of me wants to control what other people do and make them do what I want. And that is okay. This part is just trying to keep me safe. Sometimes a part of me is so afraid of what people will think that I can't move or concentrate, and that is okay. This part is just trying to feel safe. Sometimes a part of me makes me feel like I'm not good enough and I can't do anything right, and that is okay. This part is just trying to feel safe. Sometimes a part of me feels like if I make a mistake, everyone I care about will stop loving me forever. And that is okay. This part is just trying to feel safe. Sometimes my parts try and make me do things I don't want to do. Sometimes my parts try and make me do things that will hurt me and the people I love. When this happens, it is important for me to listen to my parts and remember that I can speak to them. I can ask them where they came from, and I can ask them what they need. I can give them what they need in a healthy way. I can give them my love, and this keeps me and my loved ones safe. So in that last picture is the man surrounded by his different parts. So if you're listening to this, hello, welcome, glad you're here. If you know nothing about parts work, please Google the term internal family system. Go back and listen to some prior broadcast of mine and learn about your different parts. Because if you're watching this, you have a part of you that numbs, cope, and escape. You have a part of you that has the capacity to hijack your system, take over, and do things just like we talked about in the book that we just read, to do things that the other parts don't want you to do. There is conflict. And so right now, if you were to think about your different parts, your liar part, your insecure part, your not good enough part. Did I mention the liar? Right? If you had to picture your different parts, just like in the book, right? And you close your eyes and you try to visualize these different characters that take over, hijack your system, rob you of agency and control, do things, quote unquote, that are out of control. What do you see when you think about those parts? What do you think about when you think about your addict part? A lot of people see dark. A lot of people see evil. A lot of people see disease. And a lot of people demonize that part. I invite you to evaluate, explore, consider, entertain loving that part. Loving that part of you that you hate. And if you're watching this, that's likely an addict part. Hello from California, Reno Boo, welcome. Yeah, let me know where in the chat you are. I'm safe, wet, but safe. So think about how you feel about the part of yourself that you hate. And that's why if you jumped in late, when you go back, watch the beginning. Because what I do is I read to you a children's book called The Parts of Me. And it's brilliant in its simplicity because the parts concept is difficult for a lot of people to get their arms around. And while that's true, but don't you think about it like there's a part of me that wants to watch porn. There's a part of me that wants to go to strip clubs. There's a part of me that wants to, insert, right? It's very natural when you think about it this way, or some people think about the angel and the devil. And I propose that the demonization of that part, although I respect where you're coming from, the demonization of that part is, in fact, part of the problem. Because how you feel about a part is ultimately how you feel about yourself. And when you do the work, roll up your sleeves, maybe with a skilled, trained professional who does this parts work stuff, you learn something very powerful about yourself. And listen, I hope I can bring you there listening to this broadcast. The reality is that that part of you is meeting a need. It is serving a purpose. It is a part that is very well trained to meet needs in the way that part is meeting needs. And when you demonize that part, you reject it, you disown it, it's separate. right? You want to separate and kill and destroy that part of you for a good reason. Look at the chaos that it's causing in your life, and you've been trained to think about it like a disease. While I think there are some people that cross that line to disease, for most of us, it is a finely tuned machine that you should be in awe of, in that it is very effective at hijacking the system, robbing you of agency and control for a host of different reasons around the lying, compartmentalizing, lack of empathy if you're in a relationship. So these parts, even your parts that are doing the most destructive, the most damage, are serving a purpose, are meeting a need. And as you explore your connection to that part, your relationship with that part, most people find that the demonization wasn't helping. How's that? How's that? Wasn't helping, was in fact making it worse, because just our little formulas here, and you get to think about this, and you get to challenge it, and you get to bring it out in the world and run it through your filter. How you feel about a part of you is how you feel about you. And that's the conclusion that I've come to, is that you will always lose in a fight against yourself. You will always lose in a fight against yourself. So when this book is published, I'm going to give you guys the link. Right now, the name of it is The Parts of Me, and it was a privilege to get to read it to you. If anybody has any questions regarding parts, I can give you some general advice. I cannot give you advice, but I can answer your question generally. Of course, nothing I say should ever be construed as personal advice, because I don't know you and I don't know your situation. So take everything with a grain of salt, because the interesting thing about self-help, guys, is I think this is really important to embrace. The right advice for Joe, let's pretend I help Joe reframe. I help Joe understand where one of his parts came from. I help him understand the practical implications of his relationship with that part. That reframing blew his mind. He loved it. Let's take Steve. Steve is having a serious mental health problem. He is struggling. He's barely able to get to work. He's probably depressed, anxious, although he's not that far down the line yet. That reframing is may be actually unhealthy, maybe dangerous, depending upon how much Steve is struggling. So it's really important to keep that in perspective when you're getting advice out on the internet. And like a buffet, taking what works for you and throw away what doesn't. Throw away what doesn't. What I can say with a high degree of confidence, the more you learn about this parts stuff, the internal family systems model, the mindful habit system, are two, but great resources. My prior videos, my YouTube videos, and my new mindfulness training that's out, but we're going to add to it significantly, is going to have a large number of parts meditation. So thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening.